Okay, this is just going to be my last vlog based on my code review system. I'm going to first explain how it connects back to security engineering, and then the final state of it. Okay. First of all, the reason why I wanted to bring this conversation to my blog is because of it has a lot of connections back to security engineering. For one, through the process of actually implementing it and the constant needs of speed to push out code compared to the actual chance of reliability, in at least my workspace, shows that we would prefer to have a little bit of more error in our code, a potential more error, than being a latent design having more latency within our pushes. We prefer to, that's why it's somewhat like a type 1, type 2, and that's why it's a cool thing. Also, it's like an attacker-defender type of situation here, where, at least to me and my friend, when we first were using the code, before we were using the code, we just assumed our code. We didn't really assume, but we were like, for our best of our knowledge, we always looked at our code and it was like, okay, this seems alright to us. And I remember clearly, like, I had this one line, it was like, yeah, no one's going to get past this. And my colleague just walked off and I was like, yeah, basically just double dot escape? Was it a double dot escape? And you can actually get code fetch from a parent directory, which was not the most comforting of things. That was a really big benefit of the introduction. Also, so yeah, like I was acting like a defender. I was like, oh yeah, I did this check, I checked sanity, I escaped, blah blah blah, but I didn't do a double escape, which is like, oh. It also gives you a show just the actual issue. The reason why we started the issue in the first place is a demonstration of small possibility, high risk, because the chances of a student finding these flaws are very minimal without actually looking at the source code. But they could, and if they could access things they probably shouldn't. If they access things they probably shouldn't, well, there goes everything, and that could be disastrous because basically they can access the database and have literally full control, not just their grades, but like get every piece of information for every student out there. So that's really bad. But turns out like we prefer to hold on that risk just so we can push it out with less latency. That's what my project manager was. I was like, interesting. Okay. Also, it just gives a demonstration of collaborative learning, as both me and my colleague got to actually teach each other like certain security techniques that we didn't really know of initially. Like, basically I taught him how we could fudge session IDs to override it, because for some reason he was storing one of the IDs into the session ID, and I was like, that's a bad issue, and fortunately we got that fixed, because if that was modified. But that's like I taught him like actually what session ID means and how it's actually safe. He didn't really trust me, but trust me, I was right. But yeah, it was cool. We got to learn from each other, and it just made a better environment. So yeah, that's it. Now I probably need to discuss the current status. We've really reduced it back so it only deals with data critical code. So basically anything that just talks to the database and anything on the API call. Other than that, any user inland doesn't get checked at all. You can push it as much as you want. And technically the database stuff still can be pushed, but like if it's not urgent, we still do it through the check before push. I feel like this has been very successful, considering there was nothing prior, because prior to me implementing this, and it's really like smoothing out the workflow too, because it's inherently caused better documentation. And yeah, I'm happy with it. So thank you.